Good to go.
All right. Hello and welcome to the City Council Finance Committee meeting of March 15th, 2022. It is 1:03 p.m. and we are live on a digital platform. Present today from City Council, we have myself, Liz Mealy, Randy Allison, and Eric Biter from the Finance Committee. And I am not seeing anybody else on here from council. If that changes, of course, feel free to call it out. From the administration, I have Skip Memmy and Joe Pavlak, and obviously IT. And then
Peg
Woodring. And Peg Woodring. All right, I see you back there in the cheap seats. And Chief Monks from the fire department, as well as Kayla Drummond from Recreation. Then we have a handful of guests. I see someone here, Krista McLaughlin from CEDACOG, and then Teresa Sparacino, who is taking care of our final agenda item today. Okay, now then, on the agenda, if I can locate it, you'll pardon me, I keep losing things. On the agenda today, we have a whole bunch of items, but Skip Memmy is going to get a bunch of them right out of the way for us, right, Skip?
That's my intention, Liz.
We have a number of items related to the community development that are not exactly rote, but are relatively quick. 11 items in total today, and we will begin with item number 1, which is an ordinance amending. Skip, is it the 40th year?
42nd.
That one, the 2016 is the 42nd year. 2017 is full.
Figure it out.
I apologize for that. We all proofread it, but we never really paid attention to the initial first sentence on the ordinances that we did. So we corrected it. Again, my error. I apologize.
No, that's fine. I think we've all done that before. Anyway, an ordinance amending the 42nd year 2016 Community Development Block Grant Fund. Skip.
Yes, Ms. Melly, if you don't mind, my document that I have in front of me is going to explain items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 at one time. So
sure.
It'll be one time and done. You can either vote on them separately or you can make an emotion to forward them one at a time. That'll be your choice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think addressing all 6 at once is great.
Okay, so we'll begin. These ordinances basically serve as a housekeeping measure to zero out any line item that has gone over budget or has a projected close under the budgeted amount. The remaining balances from program years 2016 through 2020 will be moved forward to program year 2021. We are amending the closeout years 2016 and 2017. In 2016, there was $69,797.71 left over, and program year 27, $39,824.85. Both of these items will be moved into year 2020. We are amending budget year 2018 through 2020 to reflect actual project balances and moving $4,565.89 from program year 2018 and $119,172.75 from program year 2019 to program year 2020. The funding totals from 2016 through 2019 that will be moving forward to year 2020 is $233,361.20. The amendment for program year 2020 reflects the prior year entitlement and the actual entitlement received from HUD. Once we amend the 2020 funds, we have a balance of $102,334.76 to add to the prior year balance of $233,361.20. So $335,695.96 forward to project year 2021. I know this is all a little
Hey, Skip.
confusing, but it's the process that we have to follow.
Is anybody else here, Skip, kind of fuzzy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We had this problem
Very
before.
garbled.
We thought we fixed it. I apologize. Do you want to go forward with some of the resolutions while I fix my speaker?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Thanks, Skip.
Thank
All
you.
right. So we'll move on to, well, the whole agenda skip. We'll move on to item number 9, a resolution of the City of Williamsport approving the transfer of a PLCB license. Actually, correct me if I'm wrong. Has Norm Lubin joined us?
I don't see him.
Janice, can you give him a call? Please?
You bet.
Thank you. Item 10, then.
The agenda.
Well, yeah, I know. This is getting real short, real fast. We'll be out of here by 1:30. Teresa, let's keep it quick. All right. Resolution authorizing the filing of a statewide local share assessment through the Community Financing Authority and designating the mayor and city controller as the officials to execute all documents. This is going to be by Delta Development. It would appear that, Teresa, you're the presenter here?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a new program that was opened in January. It doesn't require a match. The request is for $648,096, and it will be used to construct improvements at Shaw Place Park.
Okay.
And if you want me to go over the improvements, I can do that.
I think you could go into a bit of detail for us.
Okay. Yep.
Mhm.
It will include the installation of the pump track, which has a beginner track, an intermediate track, and an advanced track. I'll be at Williamsport to try those out because they look very interesting. Demolition of the existing pump house, bathhouse improvements, improvements to the existing 4 to 6 foot walking path, a new 8 foot wide walking path, fencing around the pump track, parking lot upgrades, and then the basketball court for the basketball court and the main parking lot, tennis court improvements, and then new street trees, some E&S control, and drainage improvements. So there's quite a few improvements that they're proposing for the park.
Got it. And what was the dollar amount, Teresa?
$648,096.
Okay. Has that been changed as well in the document? It's not on the one that I have, but has it? Do we have an updated resolution, guys?
I have 507,000.
200.
Yeah, there was an updated resolution that I thought had been sent to the administration.
Okay. We didn't receive it, but just if we could try and make that becomes the document we vote on Thursday, that would be great.
Okay.
Otherwise, you won't be authorized to apply for the grant for 648. Okay. Teresa, well, sorry, real quick. I guess the main question that I usually ask with these things is, how competitive is this grant? What's the likelihood that we would receive funding through the Commonwealth Financing Authority, and that we would receive full funding?
Yeah, it is very competitive. I mean, this is the first year. The fact that there's no match makes it extremely competitive. The maximum grant amount is $1 million. Well, we are well below that $1 million mark. Our next phase, if you will be to meet with Senator Yaw and Representative Whelan to get their support and assistance in securing the grant. So
Okay,
this is like all the other grants where, you know, you put it in, but you also need the legislators' support in order to get it funded.
got it. Teresa, the only document that we received in our packet, unless somebody else has more than I do, was the resolution. Is there more information? It sounds as though there is.
I can give you the project description and the cost estimate, and that'll give you more information on what the proposed improvements are.
Got it. There's no like grant application or anything as yet?
We do, yes, I have a single grant application as well.
Okay. Yeah, if we could get a hold of that, good.
Yes.
Just, you know, so that we're, you know, kind of all on the same page. It sounds like the improvements are much needed at Shaw Place Park. But, you know, I think if we all had a copy of the improvements that were planned, we could perhaps make suggestions if anyone thought there was something that needed more attention than X, you know what I mean? The soccer fields or what, you know, or however. Randy and Eric, do you have any questions?
I don't, other than, yeah, just having more information.
Yeah.
What is the timeline as far as possible, this grant possibly being awarded?
We are anticipating that they'll make awards in July of this year.
Okay. Only because we obviously have the splash pad coming up. So if we're going to be doing work, that's going to be a busy place this fall, which would be great to see for next year. A lot of activity there. So thank you.
Well, and Teresa, to piggyback on that, what does the grant award look like? Does the city receive the funding and then expend it? Is this the sort of thing where we have to bid out the work, do the work, and then submit for reimbursement?
Yes, it's a reimbursable grant. So you'll go under grant agreement, you'll bid the work, you'll construct it, and then submit periodic reimbursement requests to DCED.
Got it. And is it realistic to think that we could be doing work this fall if we receive the grant in July?
Yes,
Seems
depending on how quickly those could be designed and bid.
Got it. I guess the one thing that I'm trying to figure out is if any of this work is the sort of thing that we could accomplish more cheaply if we did it in combination with the splash park. You know what I mean? Or if we're digging up a given area of the park, do we want to, you know, or say if we're doing, I think we were putting a walkway into the splash pad, do we want to incorporate that with the other walkways in the grant application, which might cost money. Yep. Is that Peg? Peg?
Yes.
Yes?
Did you have anything that you wanted to say? Sorry, you popped up.
No,
Oh,
thank
okay.
you.
Okay.
I don't know why I popped up.
You never do. I think I do that to people all the time. Don't worry. All right. Got it. And so, Teresa, you said if we receive the award, we will be fully awarded, or there's a chance that we would receive a portion of the amount, but not the full amount.
I mean, there's always a chance with a grant that you could receive a smaller amount. I mean, they may fund some of these improvements because there is a definite demarcation for the pump track versus the fencing and the trails. Our goal is to get it fully funded and to get it fully supported.
Yeah. No, clearly the ideal would be to get it fully funded, but at least there's a chance we would get some portion of it funded if we didn't get all of it funded for some reason, given that it is a competitive process. Randy and Eric, I jumped right back in there. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to ask?
Yeah. Go ahead, Randy.
Teresa, the project, the scope of the project and the individual items came through the administration.
It did. And I will say the application has been submitted. This resolution is being adopted after the fact.
Oh,
Now, having said that, if there is an award made and if you find that there are other components, as long as they're in Shaw Park Place, we can work with DCD to get those amended within your grant agreement.
Okay, thank you.
And we have let
When did they submit?
DCP know that the resolution is being submitted after the fact.
Okay.
Teresa, if I may, when did the administration submit this request?
We submitted, I submitted it last Friday.
And how long have we been aware of this program then?
It just was announced in, I think the guidelines were issued at the end of January. I mean, it was a pretty quick turnaround to get a project in place and moving forward.
Okay.
Also, I think some of you were in attendance at the meeting with DCNR regarding your park, overall park improvements, and they'd like to see an outdoor recreation plan put into place so that it does help you start to prioritize and identify recreation projects and how you move those forward.
Is this, I mean, Shaw Place Park needs a lot of work, and it clearly would be a good thing to receive funding to do work there. Is this a little bit of a cart before the horse, though, if we're going to DCNR for a parks assessment grant?
Well, they as part of that meeting, did encourage to go after funding to get some of the recreation improvements put into place. I think they're looking also at connectivity, at some bicycle, at some walking paths. How do you connect your neighborhoods into your recreation areas? I think that's a bigger concern for them. Looking at some of your green infrastructure, some of your stormwater issues, and how you work that into a recreation plan. So that's the overall goal for that outdoor recreation plan. They understand that you do have immediate needs, but also how do you make your neighborhoods more connected to some of your recreation areas? And I know I've sat in on meetings where you've talked about bicycle paths and pedestrian paths. So that's what that plan will fold into, is those connectivity issues and then your green infrastructure.
Yeah, I hadn't understood that. That's exceptionally exciting to me, because I think that is something we've ignored in Williamsport for a long time, is not just the idea of how to create a vibrant green space, which we do better at sometimes than others, but that how to make certain that people have easy access to it is something we really haven't put a lot of thought into. So that's good. I'm assuming if we receive that funding from DCNR, there will be a process, a committee designated to sort of oversee that. I'd be interested in participating in that if there's an opportunity. Sorry, Randy, Eric, I just keep jumping on there. Randy, did you have any other questions?
No, not at this point.
Eric?
How did the administration arrive at that dollar figure? Have they gotten any kind of cost estimates? Have you looked at past projects and what their costs have been? Because you said it was 600 and what now?
$648,096. We did get a cost estimate from Larson Design.
Okay.
And it's a detailed cost estimate. And again, I'll forward that information so that you have the cost estimate, what the project description was.
Okay. Thank you.
For the record, Eric, as a rule, we wind up waiting long enough to take advantage of these grants that by the time we actually try to do the work, oftentimes it's not as much money as we'd anticipated. But the idea is, of course, to kind of move on a quick turnaround, and then hopefully the funding is sufficient. But clearly the scope of the project is pretty ample, and if some element or another of it needed to be scaled back, we could always look at that. I think we had also looked at potentially a set aside for American Rescue Plan funds as well, so there might be some funding there if we had a shortfall. But it would certainly be exciting to take care of this with the grant instead of funds. Teresa, if I can ask a random question, why are you presenting this?
I think the mayor is out of town.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, it's really good to see you.
I see you guys too.
Yeah. But usually this would come from the administration, not from one of our consultants. So Excellent. And Eric, I'm not sure if you've been acquainted with Teresa from Delta before, but Eric Biter's our newest city council person, Teresa.
I,
And Teresa's been doing a good job for us for a long time, Eric. Further questions? Eric, anything else? All right. If I'm not hearing anything, then I would take a motion, and I'm certainly hoping it's a positive motion since this one's already already submitted. Guys, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion. We pass it to the full body of council with a positive recommendation.
And I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Okay, great. Thanks, Teresa. This is
thank
an
you.
opportunity, and I'm glad that we managed to take advantage of it so quickly, given the pretty tight turnaround time.
Thank you.
All right.
Liz, if I can interrupt, is my speaker better now? Can you all hear me?
And your speaker sounded fine to start with last time, Skip, and then it went real weird. And you kind of sounded like you were speaking to us out of a horror film or something. I'm not.
Okay, hopefully we fixed it.
Okay, sounds good. All right, then shall we move back to item number one? Items number 1 through 6.
Liz,
Okay.
excuse me, I have Norm on the line on my speaker phone. If we could
Okay.
do this, because he has to go to court.
Okay, Skip, do you mind if we jump that real quick?
Not at all.
Okay, sounds good. Norm, talk to us about this liquor license. This is item number 10. Hang on, Norm, I should read it out for the record here. Resolution of the City of Williamsport approving the transfer of PLCB license number, R480. Let me pull it up over here. Okay. R48016 into Williamsport City from Jersey Shore, Lycoming County, Pennsylvania. What can you tell us, Norm?
Okay, what this involves is that under the Pennsylvania Liquor Code, when a license holder wants to move a license from one municipality to another, the receiving municipality must hold a hearing within 45, hold a hearing, I think it's within 45 days of the request of the application. And Scott Williams represents Dorosco Foods LLC, and they intend to purchase a liquor license from an entity in Jersey Shore and move it to 151 East 3rd Street here in Williamsport.
Okay.
Under the code, required to hold a hearing. And unfortunately, the code doesn't provide any procedures for how to hold a hearing. All it says is that the receiving municipality must grant the approval unless it finds that doing so would have an adverse effect on the welfare, health, peace, and morals of either the municipality or its residents. And that's all the code provides. It doesn't say the procedure to hold the hearing. It doesn't say what's required of the applicant. And I know in the past we've required just a letter from the applicant telling us, where the license is coming from and where they intend to move it in the city. And hopefully Scott Williams will have somebody from Dorosco Foods to explain what they're doing and how they intend to benefit the city. It's kind of nice to see somebody wanting to move a business into the city.
I'm assuming this is the new John T. Ryan Brewery, right? Am I right about that, guys?
It must be.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the general address. I'm not sure what the exact address is.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay, yeah. Right. So my assumption is that they have a brewery license, but they're looking to have a full liquor license, Norm. And I think that would, to my way of thinking, that would be a benefit, but we'll see at the public hearing if anyone, I know there's a church not too far from there, we'll see at the public feels that that's not the case.
Not only do they have to show us, but also eventually it goes before the Liquor Control Board for an actual hearing on the transfer itself. So
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I've got a feeling that they would be coming with this request if they haven't already talked to the nearby neighbors.
Probably true. And Norm, what is it seems to me as though I've only ever seen, do we often transfer liquor licenses out of the city? It seems as though we primarily transfer them in.
We wouldn't know because the transferor doesn't have to notify the city that it's moving. The only way we would know is if a business closed up.
Right. Got it.
And that, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you go to the Liquor Control Board's website, it lists all the, licenses by county. So you can just.
Yeah. And that.
A list of all the license holders in the city.
Yeah. That number is fixed, right? The number of licenses by county?
Yeah, it's the quota system is now solely by county, not by municipality anymore.
Got it. Interesting. It's an interesting system we have. Randy?
It's a lovely system that we have.
Yeah.
And you should know, don't get caught up in it.
Jeez. Does anybody have any other questions?
I don't.
Okay, my understanding is right from Norm that we would have to have a pretty good reason to feel any other way about this than that it was a benefit to the city. That is to say, to turn it down, whatever our personal feelings might be about whether or not it's a benefit to the city. But it's a pretty high bar to reject the transfer of liquor license into city limits.
I have an advisory opinion from the Liquor Control Board back from 2002. If you want, I could send everybody a copy.
Might not hurt. I mean, I'm assuming what you're saying is that the advice is to accept liquor licenses into the city, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I mean, just more information never hurts, I suppose. But
if you want, I could forward a copy to everybody.
Okay, I think that probably would be helpful. I don't think this is liable to opposition. But one never knows. But anyway, in terms of our review of it today, if there aren't any other questions, could one of you give me a motion, please?
I would like to pass this on to the full body of council with a positive recommendation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Norm, go on to court. Thanks for your time.
Okay, thanks. Okay, fine.
Bye-bye.
Go get them, Norm.
That what we sent you. All right. Then Skip, going back to items 1 through 6 and eventually items 1 through 8. What can you tell me about further about the community development block grant funds?
Okay. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay.
You left off somewhere maybe around 2017 transfers.
Yeah, where we're at is the total funding from 2016 through 2019 that we're moving to 2020 is $233,361.70. And then the amendment for the program year 2020 reflects the prior year entitlement and the actual entitlement that we received from HUD. And we are going to amend the 2020 funds. And once that's done, we have a balance of $334.76 to add to that prior year balance of $233,361, and to move the total of $335,695.96 forward to program year 2021. The amendment for program year 2021 reflects the actual allocation from HUD. We actually received $24,786,000 more than was anticipated in the budget that we presented to council. This contingency balance and the prior year entitlement make up the $360,481.96 for program year 2021 miscellaneous contingency. Based on the 2021 street reconstruction estimate provided by John Sander, the 2021 street reconstruction project is significantly less than what was originally budgeted. Where we budgeted $400,000 for street reconstruction and $80,000 for removal of architectural barriers. The number we received for the project is $127,243. And with that, we are going to lower the funding of our original budgeted line item by $319,000 for street reconstruction and $30,000 for removal of architectural barriers. That balance of $349,518.40 will be added to the 2021 miscellaneous contingency balance of $360,481.96 to create a fire apparatus project in program year 2021 in the amount of $710,000. $700,000 will be a one-time direct payment towards the purchase of the approved fire apparatus and $10,000 to the project delivery line item to cover employee salaries and benefits for the creation and execution of this project. This project will not only provide the fire department with the apparatus, but will also eliminate community development's shortfall on HUD timeliness issues, or I should say requirements, which could become an issue if it happens in 2 consecutive years. Upon approval of the second reading of these amendments, we will undergo the necessary substantial amendments in HUD's IDIS program in compliance with HUD's legal guidelines. This kind of is a summary and a long version of what we are proposing to do through items 1 through 6. At the end of the day, we are moving monies forward that weren't spent in prior years, and we are reallocating funds for a project of streets and removal of architectural barriers in the 2021 program year that John Sander has indicated he's not going to be taking on as large a scope as what was budgeted. And that gives us the $710,000 to pay for the fire apparatus that is coming out of CDBG. And it corrects some of the program deficiencies that we've been dealing with. I'll try to answer your questions. I realize it's a long, convoluted process. Unfortunately, that's kind of what we are required to do under the HUD guidelines.
Yeah. No, I think this is probably a new process only to Councilman Biter, because Randy and I have seen this several times, and it's always a little unnerving, you might say.
Right.
Yeah, it's this is special. But anyway, so with that in mind, Councilman Biter, do you have questions about this process or the general outcome?
No, I think I understand the process. What the outcome though that I'm questioning, and I just want some clarification on for my own education. And the fire apparatus that you're speaking of, those are the resolutions that we're talking about on the agenda for Thursday night as well? Is that the apparatus you're talking about purchasing?
Well, it's the apparatus that I believe you have at least the first reading approved.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the $303,200,000.
Right.
I think you are looking to allocate 2,500,000 of ARPA funds and 700,000 of the CDBG funds. This is the process we had to go through to free up that $700,000. We did a little bit over 710,000, which then allows to cover our cost for staff time and in doing all of this. That's where we're at 710.
Okay.
Got it. Just, does that answer your question, Mr. Biter?
Yeah, I was just a little confused as to the money that we were spending, that we were proposing to spend. Was that going to come from ARPA? But it's technically coming from this process here. So I understand that a little bit more clearly now.
Yeah. I think we had 3 options on the table, one of which was to fully ARPA, one of which was to use part of community development funds. Yeah. And I guess my only question for you then, Mr. Memby, is it looks as though we are completely caught up with prior year overages. That is to say there will be no excess funding in community development coming to us for any other projects.
That is correct, Ms. Maley. Kind of being a little humorous, the bank is closed.
Okay. Yeah, it's just, I think maybe we've all gotten used to all of a sudden a project arising, where we say, oh, look, we had a shortfall, for instance, at Lowe's Park. But we were going to make it up with $100,000 of community development funding, but that won't be happening for a minute, it sounds like. Help me understand, for some reason, I recollected that we were over budget on the street reconstruction in 2021. That's inaccurate.
That's inaccurate.
Okay. Randy and Eric, can you help me remember what I'm thinking of? Didn't we approve a street reconstruction project for John Sander that was 50,000 over earlier this year?
We did, but we had asked the administration to tell us if that the difference was going to come from liquid fuels or not. And then they agreed that it would come from liquid fuels.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is then how do we have a $300,000 shortfall in 2021 from community development?
Well, Liz, if I can chime in, and I can't speak for John, but I think the project that he was looking at, which kind of brought you in over that budget, was outside the LMI neighborhoods that we can only, as you know, can only fund through CDBG LMI areas for street reconstruction.
Got it. So this is not going to come as a nasty surprise to John at some point. Okay. Good. So that's interesting. I didn't realize we'd allocated that significant amount. You said we'd allocated $400,000 from community development?
In our budget proposal that we presented for the 2021 budget year, we had we guesstimated, let's say, $400,000 for streets, $80,000 for architectural barriers. The actual amount that John's going to be using are the numbers that I gave you for the 2021 projects.
Got it.
That are within the LMI districts.
Yeah, no, I understand. I had, for some reason, I thought when John told us the sources of the funding for street reconstruction projects this year, he'd cited a number much higher than $80,000 from community development. Was there prior year funding left or anything that he would have been using up?
Not that I'm aware of, Ms. Miller.
Okay. Got it. I mean, I know that you know better than I do where your budgetary numbers are at and everything. I'm just trying to figure out where John was getting all the money for the street reconstruction project. But hopefully that will sort itself out. Randy, any questions?
No, just that, we should double back with John to find out if there have been any adjustments made to the street reconstruction.
I think we probably should. I'll try and remember to do that later this afternoon, just to see what his thoughts are there. Okay, but so to be clear, Skip, the net effect of all of this paperwork that we've just examined is to transfer from prior years a total amount of more or less $330,000 into 2021, and then to take a total of $360,000 from prior years, $340,000 from 2021 street reconstruction and architectural barrier budget, and put all of it toward a fire truck.
That is correct.
acquisition of 3 fire trucks. Got it. Okay. Then I think I've come to an understanding of the documentation. Are there any further questions from anyone else here in the meeting? Okay, then I think just to I think the best process for us to take is to go through item number 1, item number 2, item number 3, to go through them each individually and make a motion to forward them. So if we begin with item number 1, which is an ordinance amending the 42nd year 2016 Community Development Block Grant Funds. Can I get a motion on that item?
I'll make a motion. We pass that to the full body of council with a positive recommendation.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item number 2 is an ordinance amending and transferring 43rd year 2017 Community Development Block Grant Funds. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to pass it along with a positive recommendation to the full body.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Item number 3 is an ordinance amending 44th year 2018 Community Development Block Grant Funds. Randy?
I'll make a motion. We pass that to the full body of council with a positive recommendation.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Item number 4, an ordinance amending 45th year 2019 Community Development Block Grant Funds. I think this is one you, Eric.
I'll make a motion that we forward it to the full body of council with a positive recommendation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 5, an ordinance amending 46th year 2020 Community Development Block Grant Funds. Randy?
Now I'll make a motion. We pass it to the full body of council with a positive recommendation.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 6, an ordinance amending 47th year 2021 Community Development Block Grant Funds.
I'll make a motion that we pass it to the full body of council with a positive recommendation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We've taken care of that. We'll do a little bit of investigation with John to figure out where our 2021 street reconstruction program is funded from. And moving on to item number 7, a resolution for a citizen participation plan. Skip, back to you.
Thank you. We have in front of you presenting the required citizens participation plan for HUD. This plan was prepared by CEDACOG to assist us in being compliant for public outreach with the CDBG program. Representing CEDACOG today is Kristen McLaughlin. She and I are here to answer any of your questions. This is typically something we have to do every year so that we can get the action plan in front of you. This describes the process. If you don't mind, Kristen, you want to take over and bail me out?
Sure, absolutely. Good morning, everyone. I think this is my first time before everyone, so welcome. Thank you for welcoming me and engaging our services in this process. I'm very excited to be working with the Community Development Office in Williamsport on your CDBG program. There are a number of plans and policies that HUD requires for the CDBG program. This is the first one and will allow us to move forward with the citizen participation process for the annual action plan, which we're going to be kicking off here very shortly. And the first public hearing is scheduled for March 31st. So what this will do is allow us to have that outline before we start that process.
Okay. Randy and Eric, do you have any questions?
No, I mean, we do this to fulfill the requirements, but when I read through some of the documentation, it talked about having the public input.
Mm-hmm.
How was that accomplished?
That will be accomplished through the hearing process, which has
Okay.
not yet started.
I mean, do we have a plan for how we're going to do that?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. What will happen is actually later on this week, not only will a notice start to run in the newspaper, and this will be true for all first public hearings that we have going forward. And I believe the planning office, the community development office, will be moving forward along with the CDBG program on the home and some loan programs, I believe. So we'll be piggybacking together on multiple public hearings, but what will happen, at least on the CDBG side, which I can attest to, is that we will be putting an ad in the newspaper. It goes in the legal section in terms of what funding is available, what types of projects can be funded, et cetera. And then we will have a public hearing. Along with that notice in the newspaper will also be a information, and including what we call a project summary form, which is very basic. I don't want to call it an application. It's about 3 pages. That gives us a good indication of what projects are out there, what the financial needs are and such. And that will be going to, the federal regulations actually state what types of organizations that mailing needs to go to.
Right.
And so I'm working through a list that I will, be passing on to the community development office to see if they have anyone else that they want to have to add to the list. They did provide me with some additional feedback on some folks and organizations in the city that are through the continuum of care that I was not aware of. And so we'll be piggybacking between that list and a list that we're working to develop that may complement that list, to outreach to those organizations, municipalities. It runs the gamut of everything, really. And those will go out, like I said, the end of the week, beginning of next week, so that everyone has an opportunity to comment and submit any projects. What year we end up funding those in, whether it's this year, we kind of keep, I know I've been working with Lycoming County for 10 years now on their CDBG program. I sort of keep a list in the back of my mind, unofficially, of who has submitted requests for funding. And so if a project does come in under budget, or we need to reallocate funds somewhere, we do have a starting point to go to for what those projects might be.
And if I could jump in for a second, Randy, we'll also be posting it to our website, and we will be sending an email out to the continuum of care, as we did last year. Kristen, if I remember, this is going to be a Zoom meeting.
We have it set up currently for it to be in person,
Okay.
but we can certainly, I'm leaving that up to we're tag teaming. This one might have some bumps in the road as we learn each other's processes, but certainly you're set up for Zoom. So, and there's a lot of technology available through the city that most of the other municipalities that I work with just simply don't have. So we're certainly willing and able to meet whatever needs and processes the city has already in place.
Would we be able to get a list of the ones that you're contacting?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. We're, like I said, I'm still in the process of doing that. Should be wrapping that up in the next 2 days and then getting that to the to Skip and Chelsea up there. And they can add to it or comment on them as they see fit. And I think they can probably distribute that, if I'm correct,
Yeah,
to
we'd be glad
whoever
to distribute
would
it
want to see it.
council.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think Randy is the sort of focus of your question, of your line of questioning. It seems to me that in the past, we've had very little public participation in our community development. Is that remain true during your tenure, Skip? Okay.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It's been my experience as well.
Right. And I think, I mean, I don't know to what extent, given the relatively fixed amount of funding that we receive and the fact that so little of it at this point is really discretionary, perhaps that's not a terrible thing, but it is a little frustrating, I think, to see so much outreach happening, to look for public comment and to feel as though really there's little interest in the topic. But well, I don't know if that was what you were getting at, Randy, but I know that I've asked in the past how much public participation we got, and one person showed up to all, to a total of 3 public hearings.
No, yeah, I know we haven't. I was just beginning to think about what Kristen referenced as far as organizations or those who would be likely candidates to be involved in the process. So,
Yeah.
we can, know what that's going to look like this year.
Yeah. Yeah, well, certainly the landscape of people who might need the services has changed a little bit with COVID.
Right. Mhm.
I think that it's important that we kind of keep our finger on that pulse a little bit. I'll also be excited. Skip, I can't recollect exactly what time of year it is that we wound up getting an update on sort of the state of homelessness / housing dysfunction in the county and where we're at with that. But we haven't really seen updated numbers on that since right around the beginning of the pandemic. And I'm kind of curious to see where we are at this point and whether we have a worsening situation. I don't know if you can speak to that at all, or if we'll have any kind of numbers anytime soon.
I can say, Ms. Maley, is that in our meetings with the planning department of Lycoming County, we are exploring the opportunity to do a joint survey of homelessness and housing needs within the city and partnering with them as they do their, I'll say, reconstructing the needs countywide, that we're going to piggyback on them, and we're going to specifically look at the city. So we are looking to put together a housing needs analysis in the very near future, so that we can have good numbers to start using our DCED or our RDA and land bank allocations for projects that make sense. That's one of the elements that we're looking to fill the information gap.
Great. That's certainly information that would be wise to have. Although, of course, also, I think the sort of one of the other things that the RDA and the land bank can be very useful in is sort of examining the economic development picture within the city, seeing what sectors we lack businesses in, and we have the potential for new businesses in it, and utilizing those funds toward that as well. Anyway, Randy and Eric, did you have any other questions about this item? Or any digressions as I just undertook?
I don't.
Your digression was actually right in line with what I'm thinking, what Skip and I have talked about at a few ERC meetings with the Park Avenue plan and so on. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Okay, good. All right, then I would take a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion, we pass it to full body of council with a positive recommendation.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Ms. McLaughlin, thank you very much for joining us, and I'm sorry to keep you here so long. I apologize. If I thought about it a little more thoroughly, I would have moved this item up to the beginning of the agenda as soon as Mr.
No, absolutely no problem at all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a great day. We look forward to talking to you again in the future.
You too.
I know.
All right. Okay, we have one final voting item on our agenda today, which is item number 8, a resolution for the rejection of bids for Lowe's Park. Skip, it's all you today, or pretty much.
I'm sure you're getting tired of listening to me. I'll try to be as quick as possible. We received only one bid for the Lowe's Park project, and that was a bid from LandServ. And if I'm looking at my numbers correctly, it was about $40,000 to $50,000 over our budget once we include design components that have to be the Larson design piece of the budget. We had available from the CDBG program $250,000. We had available from DCNR a grant for $145,000, which gave us $295,000 that we could spend. And I'm trying to find the number here. The bid from LandServ itself was almost $400,000 to do the project. So if you add the $32,000 or so dollars for Larson Design, we were at $430,000 with no contingency funds. And in essence, in our evaluation, we got to go back to the drawing board, see if there are any things that we can do to adjust the project to make it fit the funding streams that we have. And for all intents and purposes, our recommendation to council is to reject the bid of LandServ that was presented, and we'll go back to the drawing board. We'll go to Larson Design and see what we can do to adjust it, and then we'll get it back out on the street to rebid it, and hopefully still have this project completed before next year's spring season.
Good. Okay, well, yeah, keep us posted, I guess, Skip, especially when we're talking about changing the scope of the project. I think, yeah, I'd be curious to know. I think the original scope of the project was what? A new walkway, a pavilion. Was there new parks equipment in there?
Yes, there was. It was all accessible playground areas with new equipment. We were going to resurface the basketball court with new stanchions and hoops. We were going to add some walkways. We were going to make it all ADA accessible. There was going to be some additional lighting, trees, benches. Those kinds of amenities were all parcel of the project. And then there was also going to be a pavilion, pergola type structure incorporated into the project.
It would be my suggestion from a point of a relative lack of knowledge of the space, but I do spend some time in Lowe's Park, actually, that it might be the pavilion that would be the wisest thing to Deep Six, but you're in possession of the bid. So I suppose that would, but I think the park's equipment and the basketball court are all very heavily utilized in that park. And I'm sure that a pavilion would be utilized as well, but something like a sunshade might be nearly as effective. And give us a little more bang for our buck. Anyway, I'm sad to see that won't be happening this year, but clearly, having just spent all of community development's extra money, this is probably the best course of action. Randy and Eric, your thoughts?
I don't have any questions, just the way prices are rising on material and everything. I think it's going to be a difficult task to come up with a decent plan and budget. It hits the marks that we'd like to.
Well, Skip, has the administration thought about proposing to use some amount of ARPA funding to fill the gap here?
We have not at this time. We haven't I haven't taken it to the mayor. We're trying to be as frugal as we can and try to get this project in under budget, get the bid out, and get it under construction. I mean, if you're saying ARPA is a funding source that we could look at, we definitely could consider that.
Well, I guess my only thought is that a rejection of bids is a pretty final move, correct?
Well, it would close out the process that we started. The fact that we only got one bid troubles me a great deal.
Yes,
and hopefully we can engender some more interest from other contractors in this business. If it takes a letter or whatever to get them to even look at the project.
Who do we, I mean, we just published a notice in the paper?
We actually use pen bid for the process. We are actually going to change because one of the elements of Larson's proposal was that they would be willing to use their website and their process for the bidding purpose, and we're going to go to that for this next one.
Yeah, because to Councilman Allison's point, I do think that we may be unlikely to come in much under budget on this project without some substantial cuts. So perhaps regardless of whether we reject bids, we need to look at means to maybe increase the budget slightly or something like that. At least be aware that that's a possibility moving forward.
And we were going to look at that. We're not going to eliminate that, but I'm trying as much as possible to figure out a way to get this to come in under the grant allocations that are already in place.
Well, and to at least feel as though we've gotten a realistic number predicated on the fact that we've gotten it from a handful of bidders rather than a single bidder. Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Randy, anything further? Eric?
I don't.
No.
Okay. Then I guess I would take a motion on this item.
I would like to pass this to the full body of council with the recommendation for the rejection of the bids. Then I guess it'd be a positive recommendation.
I know everybody struggles with positive or negative. Yeah. A positive recommendation to reject. You'll second that, Randy? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Skip.
Thank you, Skip.
You were really the star of the show today. Okay, then item number 11 on our agenda is any related items. Does anyone here in the meeting have anything else to introduce?
Hi, Liz, it's Kayla. I was told to come on to finance for the portion of the recreation software for our online payment.
We have an okay, yep.
I sent it over. I was told to send it to Austin. I sent it to Austin. I didn't get a reply back, but I'm open to answer any questions. If you guys have any, it's called Government Portal. It is, at this point, is of no cost. I can email everybody what they have sent me. But at this point in it, it's they put a $1 fee to make sure that the system actually works for us. And then once the system goes live, they refund that $1 and then we pass off everything, all the credit card fee processing to the consumer.
Okay, so there's a fee to pay via credit card through the website.
Correct. And instead of us picking up, we pass it over to the consumer.
Okay, and this is a purveyor that RecDesk has worked with in the past, so we know that it's compatible. Okay. I think it would be good if you could send that information to us, Kayla, and then I don't know what to tell you in terms of whether or not people will feel comfortable that they've had enough time to review it by Thursday, but I would assume that they would if you can get it out here today.
Thank you. I was told it was pushed to the 31st, but I was supposed to be on the finance today. I'm not quite sure how that works.
Oh, okay. Well, I did not hear that. I apologize. Otherwise, I might have been more prepared to talk to you. But if you can, why don't you push that information out to all of council, and then perhaps we can discuss this at the meeting at the finance committee meeting on the 29th.
All righty, sounds good.
Okay, thank you. Do you guys agree with that? Does that sound good to you?
Yes.
Okay. All right, but I'm excited to hear that we have a mechanism for passing the fee on to the consumer and that it's compatible with RecDesk. That I think was our primary concern. Eric, did we have other concerns as well that Kayla should specifically address?
I do that. She addressed the fee that I was concerned about, that if we would be doing that, if the consumer would be picking that up, but then that's going to lend itself to the broader conversation, I think, with do we have to charge more to, or excuse me, are we going to have to disclose that to the consumer that they are paying that fee, and so on and so on and so on.
Right. I think we'll clearly have to disclose it. And there's some, there's generally speaking, legal recommendations for phrasing by the company by the credit card company, which I'm guessing we should take, and for placement of phrasing so that people are aware when it happens. We'll look forward to looking at the information, Kayla. Thank you. And then I know that at some point here, I saw Chief Hongston here. Chief, are you still here?
I am.
Did you as well want to address an ongoing council budget item, or were you just sitting in?
I was just sitting in.
Okay, all right, never mind then. Okay.
However, I guess I will let you know that I did receive word yesterday. I sent you an email. Did you receive it?
I did, that the price of the addition of the pump has gone up slightly, but that it looked as though we were still receiving, reasonably speaking, the same savings, correct?
Correct.
About $11,000 difference, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Pretty close. Did everyone receive that, Chief? I didn't look to see who was on the list.
No, I believe Councilman or Council President Yoder, yourself, and Councilman Mackey.
Okay, it might be wise to forward that to the full body of council, especially if we're moving into a discussion of it on Thursday at all.
Okay, is it okay to just send the email that I sent you guys, the exact same one?
I think that should be fine. Yeah, I felt like that covered everything relatively well. You could probably just send it to Janice and she could send it out if you wanted.
Okay.
Or maybe, I mean, the one thing I might recommend is a summary that we're looking at an increase in the cost of the apparatus from 87 to 98. But aside from that, I think you covered all that in the email. But aside from that, we're price neutral. So okay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And the only question I have then is, Mr. Pavlak, when are we looking at first quarter reports / end of 2021 reports from you?
I have a chance to get caught up.
Okay.
I apologize. I mean, that's the only answer I can give you right now.
I know it's a mess. But yeah, it'd be good to get a bit of a snapshot of where we're at some point. Okay. All right. Then, if I hear no other agenda items, Randy, Eric, anything else you have to discuss?
Not I.
Okay, then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks, guys. And I will see everyone on Thursday.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care.